Hey, Shalom, Show. I want to start off souls by giving all praise to Yahweh Shem, El Shah, Shem, Kodash, that belongs to the apostles of GMS, and honors to brothers doing the work in truth, war, sincerity. Right, this one is called Don't Eat the Marshmallow. Right, I watched this, rather got sent this TED talk. Right, basically, I sent someone, you got all of these challenges at the moment where parents will basically put like a bowl of sweets in front of their child and then put a hidden camera and then say don't eat the sweets to see the reaction, right? And apparently I don't know whether they were linked, but basically this is an example of that same experiment, but on a little bit of a, what you call, bigger scale, longer scale, right? So I won't play it. This is on TED. If you just what do you call it, type in "Don't Eat the Marshmallow," right, and then you can watch the video for yourself, right? But basically the premise of the experiment is sit, a bunch of young children down 5 6 years old or whatever, 4 5 6 years old, and tell them, basically put a marshmallow on a plate in front of them, and then say to them, hey, you can't eat the marshmallow. What do you call it, for 15 minutes, right? Don't eat the marshmallow in 15 minutes, and then when I come back, right, I'll give you, what do you call it? I'll give you another marshmallow, right, as a reward for basically being patient. Right now, what I found interesting, right, was basically the original study. Basically the guy said 2/3 ate the marshmallow, right, and 1/3 didn't eat the marshmallow, right, and then they basically followed up them children again, years later when they were like, late teens, if you will, right, young adults, 18, 19 years old roughly, right. And then basically they were saying how those, of all those that waited, so the 1/3 that waited, that 15 minutes to eat the marshmallow, right, they were, quote, more successful, right, whereas the ones that didn't, that did eat the marshmallow, for the most part, they didn't do so well, would you call it, in terms of standards, right. um but like I said, it was just that point of, the 2/3 and 1/3. I was like, oh shit, yeah, you like that, right? So I'm gonna basically, so that's where this lesson's inspired from. I'm gonna go into that and then see where the spirit leads, right? So Luke 21:19 says, "In your patience possess ye your souls," right? Now, the times that we're coming into, man, they're gonna be times like no other, right? It says Daniel's 12. Right? It says in Daniel 12 from the top, it says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time. And at that same time that people shall be what? Delivered." Right? Everyone that shall be found written in the book. Right? So the point there is, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation. Right, and then when you read into Luke 21 verse 20, says, "When you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies," right, referring to 70 AD, right. And basically, look, the elect are going to be taken care of, and when all of these things are happening, we just got to be patient, right. We got to be patient and have faith that the Lord is going to deliver us from these situations that we're in, right. This is Sirach 2:14. "Woe unto you that have lost patience. What will you do when the Lord shall visit you?" Right? So woe unto the people that come into this truth and then they lose patience. Right? They're like, oh God, how much longer do we have to be, suffer? And then the worst thing is they go in the world, right? And then they suffer, manyfold. Because, for instance, what does the scripture say? Swept. Does it say that? Yes, there we go. Right. This is Matthew 12 and 43. It says, "When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, when he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none." Let me read that again. Let me break it down. "So when the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth not." So it says when a man comes into the truth, right? And that unclean spirit is, because we all had demons on us, man, right? Before we came into this truth, right? We all were doing things that we weren't, we weren't happy with. We look back, man, we hang our heads in our hands, and then we're like, damn shit, I was really doing that. But that is the mercy of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, that we can come from that and hopefully be saved, right? So them unclean spirits come off of you. However, it says, then he saith, I'll return into my house from whence I came out. So this is when the man then falls back into the world, that unclean spirit, right? Basically is like, comes back into that individual, right? So it says, then he saith, I'll return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he found it empty, swept and garnished. Why? Because that person got cleansed, right? Scriptures talk about, when you come into this truth, right, you become a new man, right? Certain things that you used to do, you don't do anymore, right? He says, it says, and when he is come forth, found it empty and swept and garnished. It says, then he goeth and taketh with himself 7 other spirits, more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so it shall be also unto this wicked generation. Right? So basically, when a man comes into his truth, becomes a new man, gets cleansed by the word, right? But then he falls out, and then all this the demons that were running before, right? They come back, but then they come back with stronger demons, man. Right? So you basically, you're not making your life easier if you lose patience, and then you say, oh, I'm gonna go back in the world, right? You're tired of constantly losing. Look, we losers, whether we're in the truth or not. Whether you're an Israelite that accepts you're an Israelite, or you're an Israelite that doesn't accept you as Israelite. Did I say that right? Whether you're an Israelite that accepts you're an Israelite, or whether you're an Israelite that doesn't accept you're an Israelite, we're a loser in this world, right? We win in the next world, right? We'll be winners in that, which really through Yahweh Shah we've won already, right? But we gonna be able to flaunt our winnings in the next world. For as long as Esau is has power over this world, right? We're losers in this world, man, right? You can what you call it, buy yourself a nice car or whatever. Yeah, let's say you fall out, you go, fuck, I'm gonna become a musician. You become a musician, you buy yourself a Bentley. Now all of a sudden the cops are constantly pulling you over because they want to make sure it's not a stolen car, right? Or you buy yourself a nice house in the Edomite neighborhood, right? And then your kids are going for a walk and they get blown away because the kid looks suspicious, right? Or your neighbors always, looking at you like, you came and you ruined the neighborhood. Right, so they ain't nothing for us in this kingdom, right? Micah 2:10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. So this kingdom isn't our rest, right? So there's no point to lose patience, man. There's no point to eat the marshmallow quick, right? Might as well just hold out. And it's the worst thing, because in that experiment, right, if these children had just held out for 15 minutes, they wouldn't have had 1 marshmallow. They would have ended up with 2 marshmallows, right? So there is a reward, right? Just like how in this thing of us, if we're patient, right, and then we what do you call it? And we hold, what's the word I'm looking for? We hold fast in our faith, right? That the Lord is gonna deliver us, is gonna give us that reward, right? Starting off with the salvation, and then the crowning, right? If we have faith that that is what's gonna happen, right, then we gonna be all right, right? There's a reward, right? But not everyone's gonna have patience, right? And that is the thing. You can't save everybody, right? It says, yes, I read that. It says Sirach 2:14. Let's see, which, yeah, it's precepts on endurance, which I'll get some of those, soon, right? Because ultimately, this is a thing of endurance, man, right? Just like how I said, if you watch that video, that TED talk, right? It's a thing of endurance, man. The thing as well is that particular, this TED, what was his name? Not TED. Joachim de Posada, right? He basically, I believe the original study was American, and then he went and he did the same study in Mexico, or no, I think he said Colombia, basically somewhere in Latin America, I believe it was Colombia, and then he found the same pattern. 2/3 didn't have patience and ate the marshmallow, and 1/3 had patience, right, and didn't eat the marshmallow, right? So we got to have patience and not pray to the Most High to put the Spirit on us to not fall off. Because look what's happening around us, man, right? All the things that's happening around us. Now is not the time, right, to be falling out. Right, so Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ratazah, we can continue and endure in this thing, right? So it's the 2 Timothy 4. The point I want is later on, right? It says, I charge thee therefore before the Most High and the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. Preach the word, be in season, be instant in season, out of season, right? So that's what we've been told to do, preach the word, right? We've been told to preach the word, not to do any other funny stuff, just teach, right? Right, which is why we're seeing all these jakes, getting arms and shit. We're like, we observe it, we report on it, but our job is just to teach, right? This is be in season and out of season, basically saying, look, man, teach all the time, right? Go out to the camps all the time, right? Right now, we've basically, for instance, us brothers in London, we've been mandated to stay indoors. We can't, link up and go to the camp like we normally would, right? But in normal, quote normal times, right? If these mandates aren't, weren't in place, we'd be out there in the cold when it's super hot. I'm not saying England never gets super hot, but when it's hot and when it's freezing, right? We'd be out there through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, right? Reprove, rebuke, exhort, right? Because exhortation, that's important as well. A video is to lift brothers' spirits up, right? With all long suffering and doctrine. Right, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, right? So you go and have a people that will not endure the sound doctrine. Basically, they'll start going into other philosophies, right? They won't continue in the things which they have learned, right, as the scriptures say to do, right? And now, once again, now ain't the time to be being seduced by these other doctrines, which is why we all have to pray and fast that the Most High doesn't take us, away from this truth, right? So that we continue in this truth, right? It says, but after their own lust shall they heap unto themselves teachers having itching ears, right? And they shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall be turned unto fables, right? So these, these other philosophies, man, right? Start going into this, start going into that. But hey, what should we be doing? We should be, praying that we can endure these things, right? It says, but watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, right? Because, and that's plural, man, right? In fact, let me grab this real quick. This is Acts 4:24, right? Which says, no, it's not what I wanted. Where is it? Is it 14:22? Yeah, this is Acts 14:22, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we through what? Through much tribulation, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of the Most High. Right, so this ain't going to be a plain sailing in. We just kind of, hey, we just got to pray, fast, and have faith that the Lord will get us through these things that are to come, right? Which is why the Spirit's been on the apostles to basically make certain videos, to put certain notes of reality into all of our minds. That look, this thing is gonna, it could get difficult, right? It could get difficult, but Lord has us, man. Right? Is what you call the I don't know his name. Terrible with names. Right? I believe he's an elder. And basically doing a video on what shall you do when they come to take you away, right? And going into he's basically saying, look, man, if you're doing this work, we do this work because we have faith that we're gonna get this, get rewarded, right? And like I said, on a carnal level, that's why them children, that 1/3 of children, right, that had patience. What they had patience that actually, if what do you call it? If they didn't, if sorry, let me phrase that again. My mind fried there. Right, so they had a belief that they would actually get the second marshmallow, right? If they ate that what do you call it? If they were patient and didn't eat the first marshmallow, right? But what were the other people? What were the other children doing? Essentially, they were tempting. They were tempting. They was like, he says I'll only get one, but maybe I'll get another anyway, right? Or some might have had the belief that it doesn't matter, I'll just eat this one, it's okay, right? Which but then applying that to this truth, you've heard certain people say, oh wait, so if I'm of the 2/3, then I'll come back in the kingdom anyway. Like, okay, I'll just be a 2/3, and you get people that say things like that, right? Tempting the Most High. Because, hey, the angel heard that. But the angel was like, but you gave the report back, and he was like, yo, oh, so you think it's like that? You think it's easy, right? You think you can just, what do you call it, just be a 2/3 and that's it, right? And that saying, that term is coming from, Zechariah. Let me grab it real quick just to give the context. Actually, I've not actually gone into that. Right, Zechariah 13:8 says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. Right? This is talking about in the land of America, right? 2/3 of the children of Israel in the land of America shall be killed, right? Whether it's in, in the skirmishes, wars, the plagues and the famines, right? Or the ultimate plague, which is the nuclear missile, right? So it's 2 parts, right? So 2/3 of Israel are gonna be destroyed in that land of America, right? So meaning that America, a load of people are gonna die in America, man, right? Just some simple maths, right? There's what, roughly, let's write easy numbers, 300 million people. I know it's more like 350, but it's for easy numbers to work with, right? There's 300 million people in America, right? Let's assume, which we know they're not, right? We know they're not, but let's assume everyone on the land of America, right, is an Israelite. That would mean 200 million Israelites in the land of America would be killed. Now we know not everyone in the land of America is an Israelite, which means over 200 million people on that land are gonna get killed, right? Because if you're a heathen and you're still in America when the missiles drop, ain't no hope for you. There ain't no hope for you. You done. Right? That's your life. So over 200 million people are gonna die in America, right? Then these people are talking about a virus that's killed 100,000 or 200,000 people. Is that it? Is that the best you got? Right? It says Zechariah 13:9, and I'll bring the third part through the fire. Right? So this is the 1/3, right, of the people in the land of America. Right, he says, and I'll bring the 1/3, bring the third part through the fire and refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. And they shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my power. Right. So continuing on, right, 2 Timothy 4:5 says, but watch thou on all things, endure afflictions, right, because there will be many, right, endure them, right, and don't lose patience, don't what do you call it, don't give up, right. It says, and do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry, for I am now ready to be offered, right, and the time of my departure is at hand, right? So basically, here Paul saying Paul knew that it was time for him to almost give up the ghost, right? Which is what we should aim to do, right? Rather, Paul's knew it was almost time for him to be put to death, right? Which is what we aim to be like, right? This is Revelation 2:10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. So here, this is written in red. Yahshua is saying, look, man, fear not anything you're going to suffer. Don't fear it, man. It's cool. I got you, right? It says, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, right, that ye may be tried, right? Time of Jacob's trouble, right? It says, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days, or a complete amount of days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I'll give thee a crown of life, right? So have patience, right? No matter what the end is, right? And you'll get a reward. You'll get that second, what do you call it? Kosher, quote unquote, a marshmallow, man. That vegetarian marshmallow, right? So and you get that crown. We're basically, I'm bringing it back to uh the topic, right? Don't eat the marshmallow, man. Right? There's a reward for not eating the marshmallow, right? There's a reward for not taking the chip. There's a reward for not going, after this man's ways, right? And that reward is Yahweh Shai himself is gonna crown us, man. Right? This is literal. So will give thee a crown of life. You can read that in was it Second Ezra's, was the second chapter, around the 40th, I think, 40th verse onwards, right? Um. So yeah, is there anything else there? Yeah. All right. It's verse 7 in 2 Timothy 4. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Right? And that's, once again, this is what we should be aiming to do. Aiming that to have faith all through to the end, no matter what that end may be. Right? Look what what do you call it? Abraham did to Isaac, man. Right? Isaac went the full way up until the point that he was ready to sacrifice his son Isaac, man. And at the last minute, the Lord was like, "Ah, cool. I know you had me. I know you had me, right? I know you were gonna be faithful, man. Hey, look, man. Here, there's a what do you call this? I think it was a ram, right in the thicket, man. The ram in the thicket, man. That can come out, man. You sacrifice that instead, when the Lord can deliver us like that, or we could go the way of Yahweh Shai. Right? Scripture says, greater love hath no man than this, he laid down his life for his friend. Yahweh shall lay down his life for us, right? He considered us friends, right? So that it will be an honor if that's the way we are meant to go out. That's the way it was written, right? And scriptures also say, precious in the eyes of the Lord is the death of his saints, right? Goes on to say once again, the reward, right? The reward for endurance, right? Verse 8, right? Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, right? At the day that the Most High decides, man. All right. As says, basically, I'm pressing that point in the point of patience, right? For when the Lord is willing and planning to do his thing, right? His plan, right? It says, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing, right? So all them that are waiting for the Lord patiently, right? That aren't losing patience, right? That aren't getting their consolation on this side, right? Lord's will of that number, we gonna get that crown, man. Right? So, hey, as always, Lord's will, that was edifying. Yeah, that was my last one. Lord's will, that was edifying. Till the next time. Shalom.